What is going on, guys? Welcome back to our channel. Today we have this 2009 Jeep Wrangler, and today I'm working on this car. I performed a diagnosis on this car, and they brought it because the AC is not working. We charged the AC, we checked the compressor, there's no leaks, the compressor works fine. The issue is that this button is getting stuck, and actually I'm getting a code for this. I'm gonna put it right here, the code that I'm getting about this, because this thing is controlled, it's manual but controlled electronically by the intelligent fuse box over there. So there's no relay for this. It's integrated, it's a integrated circuit. So I'm gonna give you an example of this. I'm gonna open the switch, and as soon as I open this, you could see the light here. So it's supposed to work like this one, like this, and if you turn it on, you cannot even turn it off. So it's all the time pushed in, and this is the problem that this car is having, and why the code it's popping on this, because I erased the code and it comes back really quick. Alright, so what we're gonna change this unit, and for this we have to remove this whole thing. I already pre-removed something here. So this thing is like this. You just have to pull from the side right here, like this, and it comes right out. Then you're gonna use a pry bar or a screwdriver. You're gonna go to the top, and you're gonna work your way out like this. It has clips right here, and here, and this comes like this. All right, so I'm gonna take this off, and we'll go to the next step. All right, so to remove this is really simple. You just have to go like this, like that, and on the other side the same thing, and it's gonna come like this. And we're gonna remove this bolt, this one right here, and the other two right here. And I believe you're gonna need a 7mm. Yeah, 7. So I have my tools right here, and I'm gonna remove this. We're gonna have to move this leveler all the way back, and we're gonna have to move our shifter all the way back too. If you have a manual, just move it back. And once we remove this, we have to unplug it, the connections, and also we have to unplug the cable that runs for the blend doors. So yep, let me just remove this, and I'll take you to the other side of the back and tell you how to remove this without breaking anything. Alright, so as you can see, I already have this thing loose. You just have to remove the 4 bolts, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and you're gonna have a clip right here. This one is gonna be a little bit tough to remove because this thing is really fragile. So just use like a prior plastic to prior on the side, and it will be good to go. And the next step will be to remove the electrical connections. So you have one here, the 2 at the bottom, and also make sure you don't pull this too hard, because you're gonna end up breaking the cables, the plastics that hold the cables for this. So if you break those, then you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble, because these parts are really hard to find, and the only way to get a fix back is by gluing them, and that takes time. So you wanna avoid that, and first remove the electric connections, and then I'm gonna tell you how to remove those plastics without breaking them. Alright guys, so here we have these clips right here, and you don't have to pry it right away, right, like being so brutal. So what you have to do is, if you can see here, there's an opening black there. You're gonna need like a prior, like something like this, and you're gonna press that button, because that's actually a clip that holds this bracket right here, the plastic. So once you press this, you have to pry at the same time, and it's gonna release. So remember, pry like this, push in, and then pry at the same time, because this is really it's a little bit difficult to remove, honestly. So you need two hands, and I cannot be filming and doing it at the same time because it's really hard. So once you remove this, you're gonna be free to remove the other sections over here, because if you do it just like this and pry it really hard, you're gonna end up breaking this, and it's not gonna hold the brake in the plastic bracket anymore. All right, so I'm gonna remove this, and I'll show you once it's already removed, and let's get it done. Alright, so as you can see, I already removed those clips, and this is what I'm telling you. You have to press this right here like this, otherwise you're gonna end up breaking this whole thing, and it's not gonna hold anymore. So here's the assembly already removed, and on the back we have only a screwdriver. We're gonna need a screwdriver for this, and we're gonna remove this whole piece and change it for a new one or a used. Actually, a new one, it's about 800 bucks, which is insane. So we're getting a used one in a good working condition. All right, so I'll be back. I'll bring the piece and change it, and before even putting everything back together, we're gonna test this before we even put everything back together, right? So I'll be back. All right, people, so as you can see here, I already have the use control. This is the original one. So remember, this slide was all the time on. Now we're gonna connect this one, and we're gonna test and see if it's gonna work. I would recommend not to connect this yet, because these are kind of difficult to remove. So just plug in the connection and this one over here. That's pretty much what you're gonna need. This one, the ones on the side are only for the temperature, but that one's already on cold, and they are pretty much already in the position that I want them. So I'm gonna plug it in and see what happens. All right, so it's already plugged in, and we're gonna turn on the switch, and let's see first if it's gonna work. And there we go, it turned off. This one is on. Okay, pretty much good. It's working fine. So let's turn on the Jeep, I mean, and see if we have cold air now. Okay, let's see. And yep, looks like it's working. Oh yeah, I have a cold air. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press it and see if it turns off. Okay, hold on, give me 1 minute. I have to turn off this one. Okay, so it looks like this one kind of has a problem too. So I'm gonna see what's going on here. Alright guys, so we are back again, and like you saw in the video, I already replaced the control, but it kept doing the same problem. After a while it was working fine. The customer took the car to the house, drove it for a while, and it was working fine, but we still have the same problem with this car. So what really the issue is going on is I cannot turn off the AC or on the button, and the whole problem is actually the cluster. So I did a little bit more of digging, and the actual module for the HVAC, it's located in the module. So the control here sends the signal through the communication lines to the instrument cluster, and then the instrument cluster receives that signal and then sends that signal by the CAN bus to the PCM. And I did a little bit of more work. Like I checked the resistor, blower resistor, it was fine. Checked the fuse for the air conditioning, the compressor, it was working. Also the relay, for the compressor is integrated into the intelligent power distribution box on the front, so you cannot access that separately. It's integrated, but I can actuate it with the scanner, and it's working fine. So this is working fine sometimes, as you can see here. When I turn it off, it takes time. So I'm gonna swap the cluster and I'm gonna show you the difference, what it's doing, because I already did it and it's actually the cluster, the whole issue. So the cluster, to remove it is really simple. You just have to remove the lower bezel, pull it really hard, and then you're gonna remove the two 7mm bolts that hold this bezel right here, and then you just pull it really hard, and then you can access the cluster. It's really simple to remove. You don't have to remove the steering wheel or anything like that. So as you can see here, this is the original one, and I see it has some damage here. I guess somebody punched or something, but it's not enough damage to actually damage the board on the back. So I'm gonna remove this and swap it for this, and I'll show you what the difference is now. It's gonna work. Alright, so I already swapped the cluster. You don't have to do any programming on this. The only difference is just the color, but everything's the same. You gotta make sure you get the one that has the remote start and that message. It depends on every Jeep, is different. So you gotta make sure you get the right part. So we're gonna start it right now, and let's see. So as you can see here, on the other one, I used to turn this and it will turn on right away. So now let's see. And I heard the compressor kicking in, and it's actually working fine now. I'm getting now cold air, and before it used to cool a little bit and then the compressor will turn off. But yeah, now I can turn it off and turn it on, and I can hear the compressor. So the whole problem was the cluster. I didn't have to change that. I gotta use this is the original one. I got a new one from the dealership and it's really expensive. So now I gotta talk to the customer, and we're gonna get to an agreement of this, because this was actually not a complicated diagnosis, but it was quite the work. It was not so simple. So if you have a problem like this, I would suggest first change the cluster, because it's gonna be a big issue. If you have the same symptoms like I show you on the beginning of the video, you'll see the problem that this car had, and it's still cooling. That's good. And before I used to turn it off like this and it will not turn on again, and now it's turning on. That's pretty cool. Alright guys, so this will be pretty much the end of the video. Please, if you like the video, put some thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and I'll see you on the next episode. Alright guys, JEEP Fix out. Bye.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock